Hi, my name is Jamela, and this is my first video that I am doing to take you on my journey of searching for a job in tech. And what I wanted to start out with was how fear held me back. I didn't realize until reviewing this video that, the overarching theme is fear. So I wanted to introduce that to you, and I hope that you learn from my mistakes, and do not let that little negative Nancy that you might have on your shoulder hold you back from doing the things that you want to do. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the story. Hello, my name is Jamela, and welcome to my channel. This is the first of many videos that I'm going to record because I decided that, I want to take you on a journey with me while I am in the search for finding a job in tech. So I originally got this idea because I usually see people post about how they already transitioned and they say, oh, it took me 6 months, it took me 9 months, maybe even a year, but however long they took them, they say, this is the job I got and this is how I got it. So I want to take you through my journey of actually trying to break into tech. So I do have like plan and some steps that I want to follow. But even with that, I'm still all over the place and don't have like, don't really, I'm still trying to figure out exactly which role I want to do at this point. But we'll get into that in other videos. Right now, what I want to talk about is what brought me here today. Why tech? So the reason why I decided to switch from being a teacher to changing careers in tech is because I've always loved technology. I always found it easy to be able to incorporate technology or learn a new technology, whatever that technology is. Because a lot of times what I find is some things are very, very similar. You just got to know what makes a particular product unique. So turning things on and off, knowing how to do X, Y, and Z. Similar products have, similar features, and it's like the only difference is like the home button might be on the left side instead of the right side. The power button might be at the top instead of the bottom. But whatever. Um, that's how I look at it, and I've always found it very, very easy and fascinating. I love technology, and I love to use technology, especially when I was in the classroom. So I wanted to kind of walk you through my journey because it's been 3 years, and the 3 years is not really 3 years where it's I've been searching for a job for 3 years and oh, don't have a job yet, because I see that a lot on Twitter. How do I break in tech? How do I break in tech? Not just Twitter, but on social media in general. And some people are like me, and they've been trying to break into it for 3 years, but my 3 years is only really like a month where I actually apply for jobs, and I'll get into that in a moment. So first, I want to begin with the year 2020. Of course, we know that year, that was the year that everybody's lives changed forever. And since then, things have not been the same. I mean, things have gone back to normal, but can we say that, it was pre-pandemic? Is it the same? Is our lives the same pre-pandemic? Anyway, I'm getting all tongue-tied, and this is not even what I wanted to talk about. So, um, 2020, actually, I wouldn't even say 2020. 2019 is when I decided that I wanted to get out of the classroom. And at that time, I figured I could work remotely. And I decided at that time that I was going to be a virtual tutor. So 2020, I did just that. I transitioned out of the classroom, became a virtual tutor. I was teaching English as a second language to Chinese students. And then after, well, while I was doing that, My cousin hit me up and she said, "Hey, do you want to take this web development workshop?" Sure, why not? Sure, why not? Right? At that time, I was very intimidated about web design, and I didn't think it was something I was interested in because when I was in college, I had the opportunity. I actually took I took a blogging course, and well, I took a blogging course and I took another course where I, could have learned web development then, but I was like, it was like my last class that I had to complete for my major, and I wasn't really I wasn't into it at that time because I thought it was too difficult, and I had a lot on my plate at the moment. Another thing is I took an intro to CSS. I mean, in intro to CS, and it was a Java class. And I would do well on the projects and stuff like that. But when it came to doing the written exams, I didn't pass. So I just figured it wasn't for me. At that time, I thought I was going to minor in computer science, partly because, yes, it sounded great, but I was actually interested in it. So, anyway, I graduate from college with a degree in English language and literature because I thought I wanted to be a writer. You're going to notice a trend with me over the years. What I planned on doing has changed. Well, the writing part actually only changed within the past couple of years, but I really thought I wanted to be a writer and I wanted to do film and all of that. So anyway, I didn't press the issue about, trying to push through and overcoming and learning new things when it came to the intro to CS class because, I already had my sights set on other things. So I just said it's not for me and I moved on. So come 2020, I took this web development workshop and I learned CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. And in doing that, I loved it. I enjoyed it and I had so much fun. I mean, I created like a basic website. And I'll show you. I think I've updated it since the first time I did it, but I'll show you, the basic thing that I created briefly. But I was just so excited. And from that moment on, I said, this is what I want to do. And oh, I forgot to mention at that time, I was also looking into other ways to earn income. And one of the things that I was thinking about doing was becoming a photo editor because I was also into photography. So what I realized looking back now is the photography and the writing and the, even photo editing, film, all of those things that I've done were hobbies. Every hobby does not have to turn into a career, but that's another topic for another video. I might get into that. So um, so I took that course, loved it, enjoyed it, and that's when I decided this is what I want to do. I decided that I'm ready. I want to do this, and around that time, even to this day, I was seeing a lot of, oh, it's going to take 6 months, and then you can make six months to six figures, and I really believed at that time that it was gonna happen, but as you can see, we're in 2023 at the end of 2023, and look at where I am. Well, I don't have a job in tech, okay? I'm still working as a virtual tutor. So anyway, I took that course like in the summer of 2020, and then I went on I did some research, and I wanted to be a self-taught developer. So the first step I took, well, I followed someone's guideline. Her name is Bacola, and she's a YouTuber. And actually, it's so funny because when I first saw her video, I was like, wow, more power to her. I would never do that. I would never do that. I can't do it. But this was before I took the web development class. So then I go back to her video and I researched some other videos and I found some, steps to become a self-taught developer. And my first step was to take CS50, the free online course that Harvard does with edX. And I was doing well. It was challenging at times, but then I got to a point where it was so challenging that it was taking me longer than the expected time. So the other projects, let's say, I don't remember everything, but let's say if they told me that, you know, it should take you about an hour or two to figure out. Maybe it would take me 3 hours or longer. Um, but you know, when I got to a certain problem, it was taking me, I couldn't figure out. It took me like a couple of days, and I still didn't figure out till this day. I still don't know. I'm pretty sure if I go back now, with the resources and the knowledge that I have now, that I'll be able to figure it out. But at that time, I was still new, still feeling, you know, imposter syndrome. I guess that's the right term for it. No, it is the right term for it. I was feeling imposter syndrome because I'm like, look at me thinking I can, you know, do coding. I'm not a coder. And you're going to notice a lot while you're watching my videos. It's this negative Nancy that sits on my shoulder and says, since you can't do one thing, you can't do nothing. You know, like, since you're not perfect at this, that you're just learning, you cannot do anything. So that's been a struggle for me that I've always been trying to fight against. Um, Whatever. Another topic for another day. I'm going to continue my story. So um, I take the course. I was doing the course and I got stuck. And then I decided to become or do a boot camp. And I did a lot of research. I almost did one of those boot camps. See, I didn't do any research before this video because I'm not gonna give you all the details at this moment. I'm going on a tangent, but just briefly, it's been a lot going on, and I just want to do the video. I don't want to have any excuses. I don't want to say, oh, this happened and this happened, and I have to do this. I don't want to. I'm trying to focus on the point right now is to get it done. Okay, so I can't remember, but it's the courses where you don't pay now, but when you get a job, they take some of your salary. I almost did that because I'm like, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. They're going to take some of my salary. Okay, no, it's a bad idea. Don't do it. Okay, so anyway, it's a bad idea. Anyway, I mean, it's funny. It's so funny to me now because I almost got trapped. But now I know, the wiser me knows that it's not a good idea. No, like, no. Because there's a lot of free resources out there. And there's also, you know, this is free resources. What? I said it. So anyway, anyway, you can teach yourself how to develop. You can use YouTube. The thing is, in addition to teaching yourself, you will also have to teach yourself questions to ask. You will have to know like the right thing to research. You will have to know the problems that you're having. And that only comes with time in doing projects. That's how I learned. But I'm gonna get back to this story. So where did I stop? I said, oh, I almost got into the agreement where they take my salary. But I didn't sign up. When I say I almost did it, I didn't sign up or anything. I was just thinking about it. I was considering it very hard and it sounded good. But anyway, I went with New Camp, New Camp New Camp, Boot Camp, whatever they call themselves. I went with New Camp. And New Camp, I went with that particular boot camp because they are affordable and it fits right into my schedule. So I take a class on Saturday throughout the week as a self-paced. I do the work when I can, right? So it just worked out perfectly. And with the money that I was making at that time, I was able to pay the monthly payments. Actually, I think probably like the last month or so, I put it on my credit card, but you know, all the other payments, I paid, you know, 90% of it or whatever, out of my pocket. And that's why I joined that boot camp. Um, and even to this day, I can still go back and, you know, review the material to freshen up my skills. So anyway, that's that. So during this time, I was at a point where I took the boot camp, right? Um, and before or during the boot camp, I knew that creating a project was the big thing. I had to create a project. So the overarching thing that you're going to see throughout this video is there was always something that had me shaking in my boots, and I didn't know how I was going to finish it. So I didn't know what project I was going to create. It, had me feeling anxious and a little overwhelmed, thinking at that time, during the process of going through the boot camp, oh, okay, I know that's the next step, but let me just learn these things until I finally got to the end. Now, even getting to the end, there were self life things that happened to me that caused I had to pause and take a break from the boot camp, and then I started back again, and this is something else I will, tell in a whole video, but I don't, because of the heaviness of the issue that I went through, I don't want to just mention it and then just move on to the next subject. Okay, so I'll get into that, something that, kind of set me back a little bit. And the purpose of me talking about that particular thing or sharing that in this video, like just mentioning it, is because it's the reason why it's been 3 years. So by the time I took the boot camp, it was in 2021. So remember, I started in 2020. It's 2021, and probably like in the summertime, that's when I was going through some things and I had to take a break. So going back to what I was talking about, the project. At that time during the course, while I was learning, the project was the big thing. And I was like, oh, I got to do a project. Actually, I knew every step I had to do. I knew that I had to do a project, and that I knew I had to prepare for a technical interview. And I also knew that I had to, just the job search in general and update my resume and all those things. I knew that those were things that I had to do, but this first step, the project, I was like, I didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do, and I was afraid I was going to be able to create a good enough project. And what I learned when I actually started the project, you just got to take things step by step. You just got to do small doses, and then if it's something that you don't understand, then you have to go back and review it. So I did the course, I started my project, and then I graduated from the boot camp. But my project was still unfinished. And it was because it was like a lot of fear. I had a lot of fear going on at the time, like, oh, I don't know what to do. So I kind of took away. You're going to see a common theme where I just take a step back and move on to something else. So now we're in 2022. I moved on after graduated, and then I uh, I did a website for my brother, and but he decided that he didn't really want to. He wanted to go in a different direction, but it was good practice for me to be able to communicate with someone and try to meet their requirements and just to build a website. So um, during this time, or at this point in my journey, I was 7 months pregnant, and I remember it was January. I got COVID and everything, and I decided just to take a step back, and I just relaxed. I was, technically on bed rest too, and I just decided to relax. So I actually built his project after I graduated, and it was around March, and then I had the baby in April. So my daughter was born April 1st, and from then, for the next 9 months, I was in full mommy mode. I was a full-time mom, and that was my primary focus. Just keeping the baby alive, making sure she's fed, making sure I'm doing what I gotta do, just learning how to be a mom, adjusting to be a mom. Actually, I forgot to mention, you know, that I got married the year prior to that. So I'm still adjusting. I was still adjusting to being a wife, even to this day. It's been 2 years, 2.5 years. But adjusting to being a wife, adjusting to being a new mom. And that's what I was focused on. I was focused on my family. So maybe when she was I think when she was 6 months, that's when I decided, let me look at this project. Let me look at this project and see what it's about. So I think I told you the end result, what happened, how I actually figured it out. But you know, I didn't, I left it alone for a while and then I came back. She was 6 months and, um, she was 6 months and I was like, all right, let's tackle this thing. And what I learned, or I'll say what I realized at that point is that, first of all, 6 months to six figures, I mean, it's not impossible. It's not impossible. There's possibilities. You can get into sales and in 6 months, 3 months go to six figures, That is not impossible. But for what I was doing, being that the market is heavily saturated for people trying to be junior devs, yes, like I had to rethink all of those things. And at this point, I didn't think that, okay, at this point, I wasn't trying to get a job at 6 months so I could get six figures. I wasn't even trying to at this point, even now, I'm not looking for it. I do want it eventually, but as a beginner, as someone who's transitioning or changing, switching careers as a career changer, my first starting salary, it is going to be what it is. And I'm hoping that it's going to be with a company that I like and I like working with and enjoy and I've learned a lot from. But anyway, I'm not expecting six figures for the first job. Okay. My perspective changed a lot at that point. And, while I was going through the boot camp and even a little bit after, my mindset was, I gotta hurry up. I gotta hurry up. I gotta get this done. I gotta boom, 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 boom. And I didn't take the time to review some of the things that I didn't understand. I got this advice. Someone told me, I was reading a thread and a girl told me she laid out the step, not she told me, but she laid out the steps for people in my position. Someone that was an alumni for the boot camp. She said, this is what you gotta do. Step one, step two, step three. And I was like, I ain't doing that. That's too much. I gotta do 6 months. I only got 6 months, right? So it turns out that, she was right. Because this is how I figured out my project. So I started, first of all, first thing you gotta do is start. Or I started already, but first I think I restarted. So first thing you gotta do, get back in there. Second, I was coming into a problem. Didn't know how to solve it. Trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. Why is this not working? Trial and error. But then what I did at that time was like, I'm like, okay, this is my issue, and I don't understand this particular thing. I don't, at that time, it was methods. I was using the JavaScript method, filtering. I was using filtering and mapping. And I didn't 100, I knew like overall, but I didn't 100% understand it. So taking the time to understand functions, and I also had to go back to arrow functions, and I had to, just take some steps back to review some of those things that I learned. And that's when I realized that I had to break what I was doing up into smaller parts, and that's how I figured it out. So now I got a project. And after I got my project, I felt very confident. I felt like I was ready. So um, by November of 2022, yeah, last year, last year in November, I already had in my mind since I started my project that I was going to start applying to jobs. I think I finished the project in August. Nope. I think I finished it. I think I finished my project in July. And what I created was a teacher comment generator. That was my big project. And this comment generator is actually something that's helping teachers, some of my teacher friends, a few of my teacher friends, or some of my teacher friends who passed on to other teacher friends, and a lot of teachers are apparently using my comment generator in Kuwait. Okay, Kuwait. Okay, I used to work in Kuwait. Okay, I don't want to talk about that right now, but I can get into it if you want me to. Anyway, I'm gonna pause right here because so far you have been with me this long. Subscribe. Apparently you like me, so go ahead and subscribe to my channel, like this video, and we're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna give you my stories, and you're gonna go on this journey with me. All right, it's gonna be awesome. So anyway, getting back to the story, um, where was I? I did the project. I figured out what was wrong in the project, and I felt like I was ready. I was like, yes, I'm ready to start applying. So I think I finished in July. You know, I worked on some other things, worked on my resume, da 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 da, and then in November, I started applying to jobs. I also met with a career coach. I met with someone else that was already in the field, a mentor, I can call her. And then I was like, you know what, I'm ready. I felt ready. And I easily applied to about 100 jobs a day. So technically, I applied to about 500 jobs. I forgot about that because I easily applied to them 100 jobs a day, and or whatever, however many. I applied to hundreds of jobs, and I did easy apply, but I applied to some that I knew that I thought I could do. So I applied to when I say I thought I could do, when I say applied, I mean I didn't easily apply to like 4 or 5 jobs. And they were coding instructor positions. So I applied to be a coding instructor for New Camp, which was going to be part time. I applied for a couple of other companies to be an instructor, even to be a tutoring instructor. And with the tutoring coding instructor, I got pretty far. I did the interview and everything. I think one of the things that probably held me back was like it was something that had to do with the schedule or the pay or something, and I was like, that's not what they say on Indeed. So I don't know, because I know that I was a good fit for them, but whatever. That is neither here or there. So I those were the jobs that I took the time to, like, let me make sure my resume is tailored, and I make sure everything was right. I didn't just easy apply on LinkedIn. From that, I got probably like 3 or 4 rejection letters. A rejection letter from one of the companies that I was really looking to work for, and then just a lot of companies that I didn't hear back from. So um, I don't want to say I was devastated. I was just like I wasn't ready. I felt like I wasn't ready, and it was November. So I was like, and I had a vacation planned at the end of the year. I was planning on going to Texas, or I was planning on visiting my dad for 2 weeks. So I was like, you know what? I said, let me just not worry about it until January. And then January, that's when I was planning on starting to apply for jobs. But what happened was, I also applied to new tutoring positions as well. And I had several interviews for tutoring. Okay, I'm a teacher. So, I know I can get interviews for that. I know how to put my resume out there and stuff like that. So I got several interviews for tutoring, and I ended up getting like three jobs starting in January. And then it's contracting, right? So it's not full-time positions. So I was working part-time for 3 different jobs, and I was working about 30 hours a week. So I felt good. I was like and oh, I forgot at the time, because I was so afraid of how the job search was going to go, or how the job search was going at that moment. I was like, I gotta find something else. Like, I gotta find another way to get where I want to go. So I opened myself up to the possibility of doing sales. So in January, well, actually, I applied for it like probably in December or January, whatever. But I started working 30 hours a week. And then I also started a course with Satellite, learning how to be an SDR, a sales development representative, for those of you who don't know what SDR means. So, so that was me. I did that for 6 weeks, and I was still working. Then in April, I got a call, or I got a message about the Next Gen program, which I applied to back in November. And in the Next Gen program, they were going to start the um, self-guided course, where I, do self-guided, self-explanatory, right? So I was going to do the work at my own pace, but they gave me a certain amount of time to finish it. Perfect, because when I first signed up for that course, it was full time, and I had no idea how I was going to do that with no money and a baby. Okay, but I was started by the time I got accepted into the program. I was working, baby was in daycare, everything was falling into place, right? So now we are here. We are here at this moment. I just completed the Next Gen program about a week ago. I did a group project. It was amazing. I loved it. You know, it helped me to build my confidence in myself about changing careers. And it's week one. This is week one of the job search. And um, it has been something, but I can say I will get into more details about this as well. But I can say that um, you know, I haven't been applying like, oh, 5 jobs a day, nothing like that. I only applied to 1 job so far this week. And I want to talk about that in another video. So that is the story of how, you know, it's been 3 years since 2020, since I decided that I was going to break into tech. All of those things are reasons why I am here today, and I do not have a tech job. I do not feel bad about where I am. I do not regret my decisions. I I still feel like I'm gonna get what I want. I'm still motivated. I still you know, want to either be a web developer or a trainer or instructor in tech. So I still have my sights set on to getting the job in tech. I mean in tech. I haven't given up on my dream, even though I had some setbacks and it's taking longer than what I originally expected. Um, there are a couple of things that I learned from this experience. And the first thing that I learned is that, you know, you have to go at your own pace. Okay. So the new camp course covered a lot of information, and I was trying to go fast, 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 trying to get things done as fast as possible. But there were some things that were glossed over that I should have took the time to review and understand. That's one. Um, and that's true for different aspects. When dealing with a project, as I told you, I finished my project. It took me like a month um, because I was a full time mom. I didn't have hours and hours and hours to, um, you know, practice or work on my code. I only had about like 2 hours a night. I mean, and sometimes, a lot of times, I would find myself, you know, working a little bit longer, but I was doing this late at night when the baby was asleep. And I had to wake up early in the morning when the baby got up. Okay. So um, I was putting in work just because my project wasn't done fast, or, you know, maybe someone else could have got it done quicker than I did or whatever. You know, I have to move at my own pace with the time that I have, with the constraints that I have. Another thing that, you know, I'm just now realizing is the fear. Um, I I wouldn't have told you last year when I stopped applying that I was scared. Maybe I would have. Maybe I would have said I was scared, but I wouldn't have said that is what stopped me from continuing. I had all those other excuses. Well, it's the end of the year, and then, but you know, why didn't I continue in January? Well, I mean, you know, I'm working. You know, no, I was afraid, and yes, I didn't have a lot of time. But when you have a goal and you want to do something, like if I really wanted to get a job in the summer or whatever, you know, I could have put some effort with the time that I had. You always have time to do things that you want to do. You always, always, even if it's 10 minutes a day, you always have some time to put in some effort. So, like I said, I don't regret the decisions that I made because I know why I made the decisions, and I give myself grace. I give myself grace for the decisions I made. I could have, yes, I could have did it, but I tell you, the reason why I'm saying this is that, you know, you might feel whatever in whatever situation, whatever case, whatever it is, you might feel like you not don't have enough time to do it. You do. If you really want it, you're gonna find time, even if it takes you longer. If it's supposed to take 6 months, 3 months, or whatever, even if it takes you a year, you can find the time, a little bit of time every day to do it. So anyway, that's what I've been realizing during this time. You know, first, like I said, do it at your own pace. And fear has really helped me back for a long time. And I'm starting to realize that now when I'm approaching, as I'm trying to get through the steps to building your foundation to the job search, because the job search, you just don't go to a job and then you apply and send your resume, that's the key. You know, you got to work on your resume. You got to make sure that you know what you bring to the table, and then you apply and go through all the steps of the job search. So you have to really know who you are, what you want, what you're looking for, and what you bring to the table. And that's what I've been working on for the past few days, trying to get my resumes together. I did apply to one job. Oh, I'm not going to we're not going to get into that. Anyway, that is the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed my story. In the future, you can expect my videos are not going to be in real time. I'm not going to do a weekly video of that current past week. Um, but however, I wanted to like just give a journey, just show you. So my progress at the moment that I post the video is probably going to be way ahead of what the video is, but you still are going to get an opportunity to see my journey. I will be writing a blog as well, and in my blog is going to be more current than the videos. But I'm a mother. I'm trying to look for a job, and I'm a wife, so I got a lot of things to do. I don't have time to be sitting here editing a bunch of videos. Okay, so anyway, anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.